Welcome to helpingtesters.com. So now we are going to cover about another session of C basics using the virtual user generator. So in our previous class we have learnt about some of the basic variables or basic data type that are available in C language, which can be used in the virtual user generator, and also we have seen some of the examples which tells about basic mathematical operations. Now let's look at the other crucial part of C language, that is nothing but working on strings or working on literals. Those are nothing but characters. So we have already learned about in our previous class about characters. So characters are the data types which holds the alphanumeric values or any special characters into your variable. Let's take an example that we are going to store first name and last name into two character arrays, and we will be combining them into the resultant character array, and we will be printing it. So let's look at and how we can achieve that. So I'm declaring to hold the first name, I'm declaring a variable called first name character array, and I'm assigning my name to that. That is nothing but first name, and also I'm taking another variable or another character array to store the last name of 10. Make sure that you should not be forgetting semicolon at the end of each statement, otherwise it would result into a syntax error. So let me store my last name is last name, and I'm saving it. So now we have directly saved first name and last name into two character arrays, first name and last name. Now our goal is to combine both of them into one single character array. So we are expecting that okay, the sum of the character arrays will be 20 characters, because the sum will be, because just by default we took first name last name as 10 characters. So let's create another character array which holds the total size of the two arrays, whatever the first name and last name. So I'm declaring the another array to store the sum of those values. Okay, so we cannot use here any arithmetic operators to hold the to combine the first name and last name. Instead, we are using some built-in C functions to achieve that activity. Those are nothing but C string functions. So all C string functions will start with str. So what we are trying to do is, first we need to save the first name into full name, and after that we need to save last name into full name, so that full name gets combine value of first name and last name together. So let's look at which C function will be helpful for us to carry out that activity. So we can make use of strcpy is the function which is used to copy a value of a string to another character array or to another string. So here, what is the string called strcpy will take two things. The very first argument will be, or the very first part of it would be the destination, means the assignment of the all string functions will always be from the right to left. It means whatever the value on the right side will be assigned to the left side. So our target is to first store the first name into your full name. So we have stored our first name into full name. So now just to make sure that whether we are storing it or not, we are trying to print it that. So I'm writing lr output message. So first name percentages. Here previously we have seen in our arithmetic operators, we have seen about percentage d to print the any number into your output statement, so which can be put as part of lr output message. So similarly, in order to print any string, we will be using some special formatter, nothing but percentage s, nothing but for the strings. So we are trying to print the full name. Okay, and after that let's run it. So we will be running step by step. Let's check whether the full name has got whatever the value that we wanted to have as of now. So here the full name has got first name. Otherwise let's change it. We are trying to change it as alpha. just to avoid the confusion, and I'm trying to put the last name as a beta. So let's run it again. So if you look at here in our replay log, so full name for the first name so called as alpha is already copied into the full name. So what is our next activity? Our next activity is to copy the last name into full name. So here if you use again the string copy will always replace the existing content of the whatever the character array, and it will copy the new value. So here if you directly use strcpy with the full name and the last name, what happens like it will override the previous, it will clear up already existing string, that is nothing but your alpha will be removed and a very recent value will be available if you use strcpy. So now if you run, so your full name will be printing at the first time, it would be printing alpha, and for the second time instead of printing alpha beta, it would print only beta. So let's look at how it prints. So we're assuming that it is a full name. So let's look at what it prints. See, instead of printing the complete name together, for the first time it has printing only the first name alpha, that is expected. And if you look at this, the second statement, full name, instead of printing the alpha beta, it is printing only beta. That is because strcpy function will erase whatever the content in this full name will be erased, and it will copy the latest value, so the older value will not be available in your full name. So that's why we should not be using the strcpy here. Instead we are going to use strcat function, nothing but we are concatenating the last name into the full name. For the first time we have copied the first name, and for the second time we, instead of copying it, we need to concatenate. So concatenation is nothing but without losing the any existing content in your character array, we are trying to append new value to it. It means your first name alpha will not be moved out of your full name variable. So let's look at whether it works or not. So just remember this output in your previous replay. So it has printed first name as alpha, that is expected, but the full name as beta, but that is not expected. So now let's look at if it our strcat is able to append the whatever the last name we have into the full name. See here, this is what expected, right? So alpha beta is the one, that is a full name that we are expecting. So these are the basic two three C functions that we mostly use in our virtual user generator whenever you're trying to deal with web applications. So this is about how to use character arrays into your virtual user generator. Likewise, let's get into other topic in our next session, so called as we will be looking at control structures.